So India bowled out for 217 in their first innings of this World Test Championship final. We've seen a couple of 40s, we've seen a 30 and a 20, but we've not seen that big score. Now, Sanjay Manjrekar has been closely analyzing how the Indian batsmen have gone about this first innings, and you've had a lot to say about the method used, Sanjay, by the batsmen when it comes to their footwork. First and foremost, tell me, what is that bat in your hand?
This is actually not even an adult size bat. It's from my storeroom that I've dug out for this particular demo. There wasn't a bat around, and it's got some random autographs on it, and it's so old and sort of ignored that the rubber grip has got very sticky. It happens when you just keep a bat like that for long. So really struggle to get it, but I need this bat to demonstrate what I want to show you, Ronak.
So if our viewers want to know whose signatures, random autographs on that bat, we'll reveal that at the end of the video. For now, I want Sanjay to get deep into what's been his observations on the batsman's approach and footwork, and why India have not been able to have that one big score, or why batsmen who've got 30s and 40s eventually fall in. Sanjay, your thoughts?
And also the strike rate, Ronak, more than the big scores. So let me first say one thing: tough conditions to bat in, and India had to bat first in overcast conditions. And I thought, Gill and Rohit Sharma played superbly great 62-run partnership. Couple of things that the Indian batsmen have done really well from their previous experiences in England is one, you used to talk about hard hands, pushing at balls outside the off stump, not playing close to the body, allowing the ball to come close to you. Now that they have started doing really well. The other thing about leaving balls outside the off stump, that's another, improvement, huge area of improvement that we've seen, especially with somebody like Rohit Sharma, which wasn't his natural game. So more and more batters are doing this. But there's one disturbing trend, Ronak, that I've found. And that trend amongst Indian batsmen is to get onto the front foot, no matter what. First standing outside the batting crease, and then getting onto the front foot. Big stride forward. Virat Kohli does that. He's had tremendous success doing that. The idea is to, of course, negate the late swing. And in England, you try and not allow the bowler to get that late swing. And that's why the bowlers have struggled a little bit. So that is the advantage that you get. But, batting is about being predominantly a front foot player or predominantly a back foot player. You can't just be only front foot. And that is something that disturbed me watching India's performance. Forget about how many runs they've scored and stuff like that. Barring Rohit Sharma and Ashwin, all the other batters that we saw, they were on the front foot no matter what. Rishabh Pant as well came in outside the batting crease on the front foot no matter what.
All right. Now, we discussed this on our show as well, where you said this is an approach that worked for Virat Kohli in 2018. Now, why is it wrong then for him to try it again this time around? Why would you have recommended that he not commit himself only to the front foot when this worked for him in similar conditions a few years back?
See, 2018, he wanted to conquer Jimmy Anderson because Jimmy Anderson had that particular ball that troubled Virat Kohli. So he kept getting onto the front foot, leaving balls. But with the others, he wasn't always on the front foot. And Virat Kohli is an exceptional case. Tomorrow in the second innings, if he decides he's going to play everything off the back foot, he'll get 100 doing that. But I'm worried about the lesser mortals. Because when you're on the front foot all the time, I'll give you exactly what happens when you're on the front foot all the time. The length is good length, full length. So you're sort of seeing the ball here. And then these are mostly good balls. It makes the job of the bowler easier as well. He just has to be there and you're on the front foot. And these are all good balls. So you leave them, you play them. And that's one of the reasons there's been more defending approach or defense than attack, because all these balls turn out to be good. You leave one, you defend, then you play one here on the leg side. That same ball, same length, if you go right back, that ball will move off the pitch, especially people like Saudi. It will move, and then you are on the back foot, and you have the option of just punching it to the covers or just dabbing it to point. Or if the ball pitches there, which you're on the front foot, you go right back, the ball could move in, and you get an opportunity to flick on the leg side. Ashwin did that. You saw him flicking one on the leg side. There was one punch that Ashwin played. Rohit Sharma to call in the Grandham. Punches that got him runs. So India have to be careful not to become, it's okay being predominantly front foot, but just can't be front foot players all the time, no matter what.
So are you effectively saying, to break it down, that you end up facing more difficult deliveries to score off when you're committed onto the front foot than you would otherwise?
Absolutely. And take the example or an analogy of a spinner
Hmm.
bowling on a pitch that's turning a bit. And he's bowling good length. And if you've got a batter who is on the front foot all the time, it's hard to score off a spinner. You make your life difficult. So why should seamers be treated differently? You stay on the front foot, you go back, make the job of the bowler more difficult. He'll find more difficult to bowl the good balls. And some of the good balls on the front foot of the back foot can be scoring balls. And that has been the gospel of batting for years. And it is working today as well in modern day cricket. The two guys who've had the better strike rate have been guys who have been willing to use that space behind the batting crease.
Hmm.
And we'll find out, how New Zealand go about, because you will see them, quite a few batters being predominantly back foot batsmen.
So does that mean that the minute a batsman stands well outside his crease, that limits his chance to go back? Or can you still bat outside the crease, as a lot of batsmen have batted, and yet play both front and back?
You can go back.
Hmm.
Sunil Gavaskar used to stand outside the batting crease and he would go back. And that's something a lot of batters can do it. And the batters that I've talked about, they can do it as well. So, that's something that can be done. So just because you're standing outside the batting crease doesn't mean that, you can't get onto the back foot. And I just want to round up by saying that there are front foot batters who've got runs in England, but they have been predominantly front foot. Kevin Peterson, for example. But there have been a lot of predominantly back foot players who've got truckloads of runs. Steve Smith, latest example.
Okay. And lastly, now that we've seen so many Indian batsmen, including Kohli, take this almost a premeditated approach. So what is their thinking? What is the advantage that they're thinking? Perhaps when they're at the crease or they're standing, trying to play that back game, what are the perils of, potentially playing that way as well? Why have they negated that and chosen to stay in front? Are there any advantages of what Kohli and all have thought of?
The advantage, I said, told you, is that you don't get that late swing. It doesn't trouble you as much. So there's not been too many of the edges that's gone off the front foot. But because India scored so slowly that if you have a collapse, you've not really gone forward. The pitch has been difficult, but forget about this surface. This is one of the gospels of batting, which will, just make you more, you'll score more freely, and you'll be able to put a little more pressure on the bowlers by getting onto the front foot. If you want to go there more often, so be it. But on occasion, try and explore that space behind the batting crease as well. But I was really disturbed by seeing so many batters completely sort of almost brainwashed into thinking this is the way to bat. Stand outside the batting crease, big giant stride forward. Shubman Gill was almost skipping forward to somebody like a Kyle Jamieson before a bouncer, kept him back in the crease.
All right. And as promised, as we wrap this up, as Sanjay has analyzed to detail, as he always does, what he observed of India's batsman's footwork or batter's footwork. Now tell me, this mystery bat that you've pulled out, non-full-size bat from the storage, what random autographs does it have, Sanjay?
Uh, I'm studying all these autographs. There are a lot of famous names in there, but as I've taken a closer look at it, I think there is some piracy here. I don't think these are genuine. I don't know who gave me this bat, but they don't look like, original autographs. I know Tendulkar's autograph, at least very properly. So it's good for demo, and then after that, just chuck it away.
Thank you very much, Sanjay Manjrekar. Let's see if the Indian batsmen chuck this first innings approach and try something else in the second innings of this World Test Championship final.